We're going to watch the videos, we're going to talk about the videos, and then we're going to cross our fingers and hope that the deep state doesn't come and take us away for knowing too much. Let's get into it.
What if I told you that 2025 might be the year everything changes, and not in a good way? Let's talk about what's happening and what might be coming next. April 25th, 2025. A banking crisis so bad that cash becomes worthless overnight. To fix it, the government rolls out a new digital currency, but only for those who meet their trust score requirements. If you question the system, your account stays frozen. May 14th, 2025, a massive cyber attack knocks out internet access. The government steps in with an emergency internet protocol. Only approved websites work. The rest vanished, and VPNs illegal. June 9th, 2025, a new law allows the government to rehabilitate people they deem radicalized. They say it's for national security. But what if it's just a way to silence dissent? July 22nd, 2025. Want to travel? Regular IDs are out. Now, you need a biometric scan or microchip implant. No scan, no flight, no train, no leaving your city. Does this make us safer or just easier to track? August 29th, 2025. Food shortages hit, and the government starts controlling all farming. Farmers who refuse have their land seized. Black markets pop up, but buying or selling food without approval, a felony.
It could get real, apparently. It could get very real. I personally think it was going more toward that direction before this recent election. I think we have a better chance of avoiding something like that in the U.S. now that we have someone new in office. But things are definitely going to get a lot uglier before they get a lot prettier, I think. And it's necessary, if you're changing that much stuff. It's definitely going to get worse before it gets better. So hang tight, everyone. Hang on to your tinfoil hats. We're going in.
What's the CIA's most disturbing experiment?
They had a experiment that they did in Canada, and I am never... So many times people are like, oh, well, you must know all about this MKUltra project and names and dates and locations. I'm not a historian. I don't give a shit about 99% of MKUltra. I care about the techniques and the methods and the protocols and stuff that were a result of MKUltra. I'm not like, let me go fact check and get everybody's name right and dates. I don't have any of that because it was never important to me. But they did this thing in Canada, and I can't remember the guy's name, but they took people coming in for just normal appointments, like I have postpartum depression or I have anxiety, and they would against their will do this thing called psychic driving. Had nothing to do with being psychic. It just meant psychic of the mind. And they would give them massive, prolonged doses of LSD. And in some cases, tape their eyes open like Clockwork Orange and play these videos in front of their face all the time. And they thought it was going to reprogram their brain somehow. But what happened was a lot of the people had to learn how to walk again. They couldn't control their bladder. They had to learn how to control their urine and stuff like that again. Some of them lost 30, 40 years of memories from their life. And these were people who checked into a clinic for anxiety. And this was funded by MKUltra, and it was in Canada. And it's so well known and it's so open that even the Canadian government paid the people's families who just got wrecked because of this thing. And the other thing they did, and there's so much mind warfare stuff that we could go into, but they did this thing called Project Midnight Climax in a brothel. And these Johns would come in they're like, well, I want to spend the night with this hooker. They take them up, the hookers take them up to a hotel room. They drug these dudes with high doses of LSD. And there are mirrors in these hotel rooms with dudes watching. Like behind a mirror in the hotel room, there's scientists watching this stuff and watching what takes place. That is the most bizarre and weird thing I've ever even heard of. They could experiment with LSD on a lot of people. Then they did it with soldiers, and the British Royal Air Force did this with, or British Army did this with LSD. And LSD was just like the rave of the time because the CIA thought it might be this miracle mind control drug because these videos were coming back from the Korean War of these Americans getting brainwashed and stuff. So they're like, there is something happening to these Americans that we don't have the technology to do. So it was a psychological arms race, or so we thought it was. It was just basic stuff. It was like very basic brainwashing stuff.
What were the results of that midnight?
Nobody knows.
No?
Nobody knows. Yeah, I think it was just studying the effects of LSD and the effects of what they call interrogative suggestibility. So, can I make you confess to stuff? Can I get intelligence out of you if you're a captured asset of some kind? And I don't think they published anything afterwards, like some after action report or anything.
You know, another thing too, I wonder if they like use it for blackmail. You know, I wonder if they were like taking notes or like recording it. If they were watching just to study them, that's weird all on its own, for sure. I feel like all the stuff with like the island, you know which island I'm talking about, and all that, like it was said that he was blackmailing people, important people. So it wouldn't surprise me if they were doing that in these scenarios too, way back then, just with different tactics.
Did you know that the Ninja Turtles' obsession to pizza is a secret code? If you pay close attention, each type of pizza they order is actually a signal for what type of enemy they are about to face. Pepperoni for the Foot Clan, mushrooms for aliens, and many more.
Okay, I thought that was going to go in a much different direction because they were referring to pizza, and I was about to be very upset if the Ninja Turtles became contaminated because I am still very much obsessed with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles my whole life. So, thank you. Thank you for not messing up the turtles for me. They're all that's keeping me going.
This should just be said until it's fully comprehended. The Statue of Liberty was not a gift. That's the stupidest story I've ever heard. A schizophrenic homeless person told you that, you know that's a gift from France? Appropriately say, no it's not, and put it in that category. But instead you read in a history book that it's a gift from France to say thank you. Remember the Revolutionary War 100 years ago? Good job. Here's a skyscraper. An enormous skyscraper in the water made of copper of an intricately carved statue of probably Lucifer. Lady Liberty, who said, please immigrate here. It's a very stupid story, and it's like many other stupid stories. It's just there because the magnificent structure is there. And you need a story, however dumb, and maybe you have a whole branch of history, which is really just fiction writing. Great Wall of China is also probably not what we think it is. The Taj Mahal's not what we think it is. Big Ben's not what we think he is. The Leaning Tower of Pisa, it's at 177 years it took to build the what a stupid story. Actually, it took 2 million years. We just ants built it. Highly advanced beavers built Hoover Dam once upon a time. It's just these history books are laughable. How did we not notice this? How has no one questioned this? Statue of Liberty's a gift. Get the fuck out of here with that dumb story. Has anyone ever had a friend like America has had France as a friend? Did French people like Americans? Do Americans like French people? Like what? Did we like each other more 100 years ago? This is so flippin' stupid. It's wake up time. Let's look at what's really happened. Call a senator. Ask a senator. Ask Joe Rogan. Okay, I'm pretty sure Joe Rogan must be on the take. How is he not talked about the age of the buildings? But again, I only knew like a few years ago, so who am I to talk? I've been all over the world and I build things for a living. This is my house. It's not much. Wish I had a horse and a buggy. I could have made a palace. I just worked a little harder. This could be a little bit easier. No, we're just so lazy nowadays, guys. We're so lazy and stupid nowadays. People used to be so smart. It's definitely not possible that all the boomers got tricked by malicious liars. Is that possible? And the boomers' parents and the boomers' grandparents, and we really don't know anyone before then. We just have silly history books. And so these are all just my thoughts. I believe we are a post-apocalyptic species that is waking up to this fact rather quickly, and that all of our history books are complete fiction. Just case in point, this is the Arch of Triumph in North Korea. Looks a lot like the Arch in France, no? And the one in Germany? And yet it's in North Korea. And our history books say it was built in the 80s. Now, this is the Palace of the Sun, also in North Korea, built in 1976, renovated in the 90s for almost $1 billion, some estimates say. And could we be dealing with a case of stolen valor? That the North Koreans did not, in fact, build this palace, but that they're squatting in it. Their leaders are squatting in it and selling their people and all people the lie that they built it, to conflate founded with built. were built with occupied, established. There's a bunch of words. Just again, case in point, this is a 500-year-old building on the small island nation of the Dominican Republic. This was the first thing they built here when this is what was around. And this is the Palais de Justice in Belgium. And just look at the size reference. Do you think that guy built that building in 1883? Psychopathic King Leopold pillaging the entire world? Palace of Justice? What are we talking about? That's a beautiful name for a very old building and a very dumb story. I think these dumb stories are all over the world. Every single nation is held captive to them. And the only thing they have going for them is legitimacy, because this is the legitimate narrative. Had a bunch of horse and buggy people threw these buildings up all over the world, or sociopathic dictators threw these buildings up in the dead of night. And no further questions, and everything's a museum or a library or a courthouse or a government building, and don't ask too many questions.
I mean, that's how I feel about it. I think that most of the things that we have right now have been stumbled upon and were created by previous civilizations, previous generations, all of the above, honestly. I'm not saying that we are incapable of creating a lot of the amazing things that we have. I mean, there are stonemasons still that recreate and actually restore these old buildings using the old tactics. I follow a guy on Instagram, I can't remember his name, but he does really awesome work, and he shows the whole process, just does it with a chisel and a hammer, and it's awesome. So it's definitely possible, but I don't think that's the case with everything. Clearly, the victors write history, so there's going to be bias in any recording or anything. If you play that telephone game, you tell one person something in a group of 20 people and give it like a week for them to like space it all apart even. Just, wait a day, tell someone else. Wait a day, tell someone else what happened. Wait a day, tell someone else what happened. It's probably going to be shifted in their favor if they're included in the story. And if they're not included in the story, there's a good chance that important details will be left out because they won't care enough to actually include everything. So bottom line is things are getting left out through history. A lot of things have been changed. A lot of things have been left out. A lot of things are intentionally moving us in a different direction toward whatever end goal the people writing history have. But in saying that, I don't want to downplay some people's talents and the human ability to create amazing things and do amazing things, because it's very much possible. Outside of like the pyramids and some things like that, it's very possible for humans to actually build amazing things like this. So good on you.
There were these beings in the ancient Sumerian cuneiform tablets. Some of them called themselves the ordainers of destiny. They actually had the capability of foreseeing potential outcomes. They would see them on this crystal tablet, which is so bizarre, first of all. This is 6,000 years ago. When they found the outcome that they wanted to happen, they would then create action steps toward that particular outcome, nudging that outcome into reality, collapsing it into the reality tunnel, making it a part of this third dimension while they're alive and living on that timeline. So it's conscious thought multiplied by action equals manifestation. That's what the shirt is. DT multiplied by A equals M. That's the formula. And these ancients knew this a very long time ago.
Isn't it weird that every space documentary, all the series, I had them all, Joe had them all, we watch them all the time. I tried to remember all the about a neutron star and a superhypernova. Me and Joe were deep into space.
Beyond Venus, 93 million miles from the sun, is Earth. Its great oceans forming the clouds and air currents which warm and irrigate the planet.
I thought I was better than people because I knew so much about space. And every now and then I'd watch all that and wonder, what? This is all cartoons. And every now and then I think to myself, it's weird that we're not watching any actual footage of space. It's all CGI. All DVDs on space are all CGI. There's nothing real. And everyone watches that. They believe it. The narration is all programming. What's above us and what we're on, we're being lied to. Do we have Hubble? Why don't you point it at the Earth and get some awesome shots of where we live? All the pictures and images from space are CGI. None of them are real. We haven't gone past that. What, are you telling me that that's okay? We could just gloss over that? And they admit that they're all CGI, except for one in 1972, which is fake. They have one picture. They say one is real, 1972. All the rest is CGI. Like, where are the pictures of Earth from space? I want to see a picture. I want to see tens of thousands of them. I want to see the sun over here and the moon over there. People should have posters all over the world. People should have these epic pictures of the Earth from space with the moon over here and the sun over there and the planets. There's none.
Literally zero. They do sometimes exaggerate, like claiming they used a NASA camera 1.6 million miles away to take this alleged video of the dark side of the moon. It doesn't take a genius to see how undeniably computer-generated this image is, and yet you think we are the moronic ones?
I would rather be thought as a moron for not trusting criminals than a sellout and a traitor for defending them.
The reality
Look,
is...
the things that come out of your mouth, are you saying something that a defense attorney would say, or are you saying something that a prosecuting attorney would say? When it comes to the government, that criminal, that's like John Gotti, I'm saying that a prosecuting attorney would say, not saying like, we'll prove it, he's a criminal. Without a doubt, whatever's coming from the government, I need the kind of evidence that would shut down a case. If I don't see the evidence, why would I believe it?
What is gravity?
I have no idea. Okay, next question.
So you're telling me gravity is strong enough to hold oceans onto it, battling inertia from the spin. So gravity's holding oceans, inertia's trying to pull it out and make it fling. Skyscrapers would fling off the earth, but this gravity's holding these. It's so strong, it's holding the ocean, but it can't hold a helium balloon. Things that are less dense go up, things that are more dense go down. Has nothing to do with gravity. Where's gravity at with butterflies? You would think that if gravity's so strong it's holding skyscrapers down to it, we would be flat on the ground.
There is gravity all the way out to the moon and beyond.
Long before the theory of gravity was a glimmer in Newton's imagination, the natural physics of density and buoyancy already perfectly explained why apples fall down. Objects fall or rise based on their relative density to the medium surrounding them. Apples fall because they are denser than the air, while helium balloons rise because they are lighter.
No gravity necessary.
This is why raindrops fall down through the air and air bubbles rise up through water. Everything seeks its relative density and rises or falls until settling accordingly. This is why a tiny pebble sinks to the bottom of the ocean, but gigantic cruise ships and aircraft carriers stay afloat on the surface. Because even though a pebble is so small, its mass, relative to its volume, its density, is more than water, so it sinks. And even though a cruise ship is so large, its mass, relative to its volume, is less than water, so it floats. If Newton's apple had landed in a puddle, he would have seen the apple only fell through the air because it was denser than the air, but then floated on top of the water because it was less dense than water. The natural physics of density and buoyancy was understood and agreed upon for centuries before they changed our textbooks and started NASA.
All our space information is coming from NASA. Werner von Braun was the director of all 6 moon missions, and he's a Is that not a comic book? That's a comic book.
Eddie Bravo's wild, dude. Like, I don't know, man. I'm still definitely in line with mainstream physics and math and science. I still align with that. There's so much stuff coming out that is opposing that. So like flat earth and this anti-gravity stuff. And I'm just in the way of thinking here. I'm like, okay, so I can look at it and say, okay, if I hear enough of this, if I watch enough of this stuff, if I just drill it in my head that what these people are saying are true, like Eddie Bravo here and all the flat earth videos and stuff, that maybe I'll finally believe it. And I'm like, and I'm like, yeah, I would. I would probably start believing it if I did that. Because that's what propaganda is. That is what mental manipulation is. That is exactly what news networks do. That is exactly what everyone does. So on the other hand, sure, that could be exactly what the school system did with gravity and saying we're on a globe and all that stuff. But how do you know which one's true if they're both just doing the same type of programming, the same kind of propaganda, the same kind of social engineering, I guess, to the end goal of justifying their bias and their beliefs? That's really what happens, right? I mean, there's a truth in there somewhere. I just don't know where it's at. I don't know where it's at with any of this stuff. So if you do, you're going to have to let me know, because I surely don't. I just know what I've known up to this point, and I know the stuff that I'm hearing and learning along the way.